Hi, my name is Roger Williams. Years ago, I was a youth pastor in a little church in Colorado. One day I'm at home and I get a call at home. I answer the phone and the lady says, "Is this Roger Williams?" I said, "Yes, it is." She said, "You don't know me, but I'm a teacher at a local high school. And it just so happens one of your students is one of my students." I said, "Really? Who's that?" And she told me his name, and he had joined my youth group. He had been a gangbanger and came to church, got saved, and joined my youth group. And she said, "I teach a religion class at a local high school." And she said, "In this class, I've already taught on Buddhism, I've taught on Islam, and I've taught on most of the major religions of the world." She said, "The only thing I haven't taught on yet was Christianity." She said, "It's time for me to teach on Christianity, and your student, who's my student, tells me I need you to come in and teach." She said, "Would you be willing?" I said, "Sure, absolutely." And before I thought about it, we had the conversation. I hung up the phone. I said, "What did I just say?" I said, "I probably should have at least asked." But it was no big deal. It was 2.5 weeks out. Every single day from that point, I got up in the morning and I said, "Lord, what do you want me to teach on?" Crickets. Nothing. I heard nothing. Every single day I'd ask him and I heard nothing. Finally, it's time for me to go and teach the class on Christianity. And I'm walking out the door and I'm like, "Lord, any time now would be really good." And the only thing I heard, "Those tracts that you have sitting by your front door, take those with you." I grab the tracts, I leave out to go to the school. I'm pulling up in the parking lot of the school, and my student is literally in the parking lot, literally jumping up and down. He was so excited for me to be there. I get out of the car and he wants to take me on a tour of the entire school. He wants to show me where they have the gym, where they eat lunch, every single room I went into. I kept saying, "Lord, any time now would be really good." Nothing. Finally, he takes me to his class where I'm going to be teaching. He introduces me to his teacher. The teacher and I have small talk for a few minutes. And then the teacher goes up front and said, "We have a special guest speaker today. His name is Roger Williams." And as I'm walking to the front, I'm saying, "Lord, any time now would be really good to tell me what I'm going to teach these kids." I heard nothing. I get to the front and I say, "Hi, my name is Roger Williams." And then the Lord said, "This is what I want you to teach them." He said, "I want you to give tracts out to the kids, and the class starts when each kid has read 2 tracts." So that's what I told the kids. I said, "Okay, today I have tracts and I have put them on the tables out there. We're going to start when each kid has read a tract. I read 2 tracts. You read one, switch with your neighbor, and then he reads it." So these kids, oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, this wasn't a regular high school. This was a high school where they took all the kids out of the regular high school that they couldn't handle, and they put them in this high school. And so the kids pick up the tracts and they read one, ha, 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 threw it down on the table, picked up another one, read it, ha, 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 threw it down on the table. And I started the class and I said, "Let me ask you a question. What does every one of those tracts have in common?" No one could answer. I said, "Pick up a tract and look on the back." And they picked it up and they opened the back cover, and it had a prayer of salvation on the back cover. And I said, every one of those tracts has one person in common. His name is Jesus. I said, Christianity is the most narrow-minded way of thinking you could ever imagine in your life. And they said, they didn't expect me to say that. And I said, it's narrow-minded because of this. All of Christianity is about one person. His name is Jesus. And I said, he had the audacity to say, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but by me." I said, do you realize what that does to the rest of your religions? All of your religions are trying to reach God. But Jesus said, "I am the way, the only way. I am the truth, and I am the life." I turned around to the whiteboard behind me and I drew a funnel. And I put a circle in the middle of that funnel. And on the bottom, I drew arrows going up. I said, all the religions are trying to reach God. But if Jesus is right, and he is the only way, then all your other religions are in vain. They're for nothing. I said, what you have to decide today was if Jesus was a nut or if he was God, if he was who he said he was. That's where we're going to start. I went through the class and I took them back to Genesis and I talked to them about sin. I talked to them about God's original plan. I said, you know what? Most people don't even know what sin is. That term is thrown around so much. I said, that's actually an ancient Hebrew archery term. If the Hebrew archers, when they were shooting at the bullseye, if they missed the bullseye, they would say, you sinned. Sin simply means missing the mark. And here's the interesting thing. I started taking them through when Adam missed the mark. I said, oh, by the way, there's this place called hell. It was never invented for you. It was invented for this being that rebelled against God. His name is Satan. God created hell for Satan and his followers. It was never created for you. Here's the interesting part of that. You get a free ticket to hell, not because of anything you did, but because of what Adam did. See, Adam chose to rebel against God, and he passed that rebellion along to you through the blood. When I said that, a girl in the middle of the classroom, she had purple spiked hair, red, green, earrings all over her face. She screams out, "That's not fair!" And I said, you're right. I said, but let me ask you a question. Is it fair for a little baby to be born with AIDS? What did that baby do? She didn't say anything. I said, just so that you know, Jesus agrees with you. It's not fair. He loves you so much that he chose to come and pay your price for you so that you wouldn't have to be separated from our Father or from him. And it's your decision whether or not you accept it. So we go to the class, and I get to the end of the class. And I said, well, here's something interesting. Today I'm the teacher. You're the student, which means I get to make the rules. And my rules are this. Today we take a test. And on my test, there's only 2 grades, A and F. Really easy to get an A. All you have to do is get every question right. To get an F, you only have to miss one question. How many people want to take my test? No one raised their hand. It was funny. I said, you know what? I forgot to mention. Just by walking through that door to come in this classroom, you've already missed 3 questions. Now who wants to take my test? No one raised their hand. And I said, in all the time I've been giving this test, only one person has ever passed it. Me. I'm going to give you something special today. I'm going to give you the opportunity to take this test one of 2 ways. You can take it on your own. And remember, you already missed 3 questions just by walking through that door. Or I'm willing to switch grades. I'll give you my A. And I'll take your F, and I'll pay all the prices for your F. I'll take all the consequences for your F. How many people want to take the test on their own? Nobody raised their hand. I said, how many people want to switch grades with me? On that one, they raised their hand. I said, that's exactly what Jesus did for you. You see, when you were born on this earth, you were born in a no-win situation. And Jesus chose to come and pay your price for you. See, there's this appointment that you have that you can't get out of. You can't go there on this appointment with anybody. Not with your girlfriend, not with your boyfriend, not with your mother, your father, nobody. It's a one-on-one between you and Jesus. And he's only going to have one question. His question's going to be this. Why didn't you take my free gift? Tears will be rolling down his face as he tells you, I came and paid your price for you so that it would never come to this. I came and I took your failure and I paid the price for it. All you had to do was accept my free gift. Why didn't you? You see, at that point, all the cool goes away. All the smart answers go away. Because see, I've stood there before in front of Jesus, in front of the throne. I've stood there when I was 12 years old. I went to bed one night, and when I went to bed, my eyes opened, and I was at the throne. And I can tell you, you can't even explain the kind of fear that you have when you're standing in front of him. And he says to you, I don't know you. I can tell you what happens. Your skin starts jumping uncontrollably. All over your body, your skin just starts jumping on your body. Tears start coming down your face. Your tongue is stuck to the top of your mouth, and you can no longer control your muscles. And that when that angel walks up and he grabs you by the arm, he doesn't grab you by the hand. He grabs you just behind the elbow, and he starts walking you out of the presence of God. You know there's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. There is no recourse. This is it. I can't tell you that kind of fear. But see, that's what happens to people who don't accept the free gift that Jesus offered. I said, okay, class is over. I'm going to stay and answer questions for anybody that I can. I said, if I don't know the answer, I'm going to tell you I don't know. I stayed in that class, and not a single kid left. 40 minutes later, they're still there asking me questions. Finally, the little girl who yelled at me earlier says, hey, mister, can I ask you something? I said, sure. She said, why do they come on TV and tell us how bad we are, but they don't come on and tell us how much Jesus loved us and what he did for us? I said, sweetheart, that's why he sent me here today. I never forgot that little girl's face. That little girl has been in my mind all that time because I couldn't have answered that question. Why do we tell people how bad they are and not tell them how good Jesus is? What's your question? What's your answer going to be? Last thing I'll share with you. There's a bad side to everything I shared with you today, and this is it. You see in that appointment, I've just taken something from you today. I've taken away your ability to stand before Jesus and say, I didn't know. I just stole that from you today. Because he's going to say, remember that guy I sent to your class? You knew. My question to you, what's your answer going to be? Are you going to accept this free gift, or are you going to do it your way?